This is Nick Nelson, Mad Scientist of Muscle, and what I've got for you today here is a quick review of a really cool piece of training equipment. Now this is something that you may not even realize that you need, but what it is band handles. These are solid band handles. Now when you're doing band training, for example, if you're doing a band curl, you step on the end, you have the band in your hand, and you're just doing a curl like so. Now might be fine for smaller bands like this. As you get into thicker bands, the band starts to actually compress your hand and kind of mush your fingers and your bones a little bit awkwardly, and it basically takes away the focus of the exercise from the muscle you're trying to work to trying to keep your hands squared up so that you don't get them all mushed up. What these band handles do, I'll give you a close-up here, is they provide you with a solid steel grip that you can put the bands through. So going back to that curl example, this slot right here, this open section, you just put the band right through, and then all of a sudden you've got a solid handle for the band to work on. Now this is, like I said, actually a really smart idea. This is something that's bugged me about band training for years, and I never really came up with a way to address it. This is a piece of equipment from Vector Athletics that completely addresses it. Very simple to use, works pretty much in any band that I've tried. This is a yellow band, a skinny one. Now, this is a medium blue band, slides right in, does the same thing. Now, what you can see here, these edges are rounded, so they're not going to catch on the band, they're not going to slice the band, they're not going to compromise the integrity of the band in any way, shape, or form. So what this does is allows you to do stuff like that. Now if I was using just the band, it's doable, but it's actually more challenging, and it does take away from the focus of the exercise, which in that exercise would have been the shoulders. With that, you're basically fighting the band. You're fighting the deformation of your hand while you're using the band for the exercise, which if you're doing band exercises, you don't want to have to do that. Now, next question, does it work in big, thick black bands? And I'll show you right now, it does. What you kind of have to do though, is you can see because that band is so thick, it does sit part way out, so you're going to actually need to smush that in there, which does take a bit of work, but generally speaking, it's not something you're probably going to have to do very often. Most band training isn't done directly with a band with this size of band, but I just want to make sure that I show you that it actually can be done with this big thick black band. So it does work very effectively, and well, not as easily as with a smaller band, clearly, but it definitely does work. So that's, yeah, demonstrating my incompetence more than the design of the thing here. But for example, if you were using this with this band strapped to something, with this band hitched to something, this would allow you to do a very effective row. So for example, if you're using just the band here and you're pulling in, a lot of that effort I find is actually going towards, you know, keeping your hand from getting smushed up. So put this band in here, and now all of a sudden, thick band, actually a much more effective movement, even with something as thick as this. And like I said, because the band, or the frame of this thing is rounded, you're not going to have to worry about damaging your band. So this gives you a nice, basically firm, solid surface to grip on, versus getting your hand kind of mashed up and compressed and having to deal with instability in your grip. So, yeah, I'll just leave that. I think you get the idea with that. Now, this is good because this set comes, but I'm going to have to grab this again, but this comes with two handles when you pick up a set of these. like I said, this is more something, you're probably not going to use these thick bands too much with this. You might, depending on what exercises you're going to do. But this can be used 2 handles on 1 band very easily. So, like I said, the set does come with 2 of these handles in it. Now you've got something you can do, curls like so. So that's basically how these things work. There's really not a lot, to mess up with this. You basically put the band in the gap, and now you've got a handle. That's really all there is to it. They work with literally any brand of band because they're just that not complex. So you can see there's the slot, there's the hole, solid steel. And these are very solid. You're not going to compress these so much that they're going to munch themselves down, squish themselves down, and not give you the capabilities of actually getting a band in there. That's just not going to happen with this level of steel on here. So if you've ever been tired of having your hand being compressed with band training, this is something I would absolutely recommend. It's really a no-brainer in terms of what you can do with it and how it works.